Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone, and a partnership has been struck between one of the world's top accounting firms, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and NCB Capital Markets to raise equity financing for 3 clubs in the Jamaica Premier League. Arnett Gardens from St Andrew, Montego Bay United from St James, and the St Catherine-based Portmore United. Well, the aim of the partnership is to revolutionize the way football clubs are run in Jamaica and usher in a new age of professionalism. Professional Football Jamaica Limited, PFJL, signed the partnership agreement last Thursday, and the project officially began on Monday. Joining us now is a partner at PWC Southern Caribbean Deals, Wilfred Baghaloo. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Thanks.
I think
Good afternoon to you and your guests.
Yeah, thank you.
And your viewers.
All right, so I think it's fitting where I start by asking you, to just explain this partnership with PWC, NCB, and of course, Jamaica Premier League.
Well, PWC provides a wide range of services. Everyone knows PricewaterhouseCoopers as an auditing firm or a taxation firm, but we also provide valuation services. Not valuation of real estate, but valuation of companies. And so the primary thought process here is to value these 3 clubs based on the cash flow, and then to have NCB Capital as a regulated financial institution, regulated under the FSC Act in this instance, to list the shares of the 3 clubs in the first instance, to have these shares listed on a junior stock exchange. So Pricewaterhouse played a role of a valuation expert, a strategic advisor, will assist the clubs in creating the business plans, creating the necessary documentations that are required for the listing, and NCB actually do the listing as is required under law.
All right, and why did PWC, feel the need to invest in these clubs? And of course, just talk to us about the benefits, the numerous benefits that these clubs will have.
Well, we're not investing in the clubs. We're actually providing our services free of cost.
Yeah.
And we're very pleased to do so. So many of us in Jamaica come from similar backgrounds as many of these clubs are come from. These clubs are really feeding grounds of many of the inner city communities. In Portmore, in Montego Bay, obviously in Arnett Garden. And we're very proud. We've always traditionally been focusing heavily in the business community. And we're very pleased and happy to be participating in something that affects so many local lives in these communities. So we're very happy to provide our service free of cost and to assist the clubs in achieving the monetization of their revenues for the building of their infrastructure, for development of football in the short and the medium term.
Wilfred, first of all, before I ask my first question, what's that over your right shoulder? Is it Cavossier or is it Hennessy? That's in that bottle.
I'm actually home, but it's both.
It's both.
It's a 25-year-old. It's a 25-year-old, and this was the best place I could find.
Excellent. No. It's a good shot. It's good for the shot. It's good for the shot. It puts a little pep in the step of the interview.
But I see you have your priorities right.
There you go.
Great.
Wilfred, so I'm keen to learn about what went into putting a value on these clubs, because if I extend to Britain then as an example, and clubs will own their home ground, and the home ground will be ex-seater, and it will have amenities at the home ground, a concession stand, and so forth. And these things perhaps go into valuing the football club itself. How would you value, say, an Arnett Gardens, which plays at Tony Spalding? Don't know if they own Tony Spalding. Portmore United, which hasn't been playing at a home venue for some time now, it rents facilities to play. And Mobay United, which is at Westport Park in St. James.
Well, quite frankly, most of the clubs in United in Europe, not all, but most, they don't own their grounds. The grounds are owned by big multinational companies like Vinci and Bouygues. They are probably just lessees. And with that lease agreement, they have the right to operate many of the concession agreements that you speak of. So you don't have to own a ground to be valued. What you have to own is cash flow. And what these clubs own is the cash flow, the gate receipts, irrespective of the location, the paraphernals, T-shirts, hats, all the other bits and pieces that goes in promoting football, and the ownership of players, the transfer of players, television rights. Those are the things that we will value and put a value to it. We will assume that there's a time period for this kind of revenue, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and we value that and we put a value to that, and then we have it listed on the stock exchange. So you don't have to own assets. That is not relevant in evaluation. It's important. It's one of the variable, but not an important variable. What is important is cash flow.
Excellent. So
cash flow in and cash flow out.
Yes, flow both ways. So, I mean, I know that there will be things that you can't say, but I'm going to push nonetheless. Can you say which of the 3 clubs in question has the highest valuation?
Well, we can't say that, obviously, but nevertheless, I understand why you ask. It's very early days yet. When the chairman reached out to us, we were very excited. First of all, I would like to thank the chairman for reaching out to us, Chairman Christopher Williams. And we were very excited that we could find a role for PWC to play in the lives of some of the Jamaicans who are not in the business sector. Football can be big business, but has not been big business. And we hope this will be the start of making football big busince, as it is elsewhere. You see the salaries that footballers get elsewhere. You see the transfer prices. It's real big business. So we are very excited by that, and we think that the process is just starting. So we only signed the agreement last week. We have not received the necessary information, and starting maybe a week, 2 weeks from now, we're sitting down with each of the clubs that you have mentioned and start working with them on those numbers. So it's very, very early days yet.
Yeah, I had to ask nonetheless. Did you play any role in the selection of these 3 clubs? Or you were just given them by the PFJL?
Chairman guided us in that regard, and I believe he's the best person to explain why these 3 clubs. But as I understand from him, it's only a start.
Yeah, only a start. Any idea yet, given what may go into the evaluation again, and you gave the example of what happens outside of Jamaica and what happens here, but any idea of how potentially share structure may be set up for these clubs, and how the public will be invited to take their equity stake? Any framework that would apply to the clubs of this size?
Yes, sorry to interrupt you. It is set up exactly just like any other company in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. It will be a company. It has to have strong corporate governance. Some of the clubs I've looked at do have strong corporate governance and persons who have deep experience in the financial sector, in business, and have high reputation. So corporate governance is very important, meaning the board of directors, the subcommittees, how regularly they meet. All that were very important. And the differentiation between the board of directors and the executive, the people who manage the club, the manager, etc. Those are going to be very important variables, and based on what I've seen on paper so far, they exist for those 3 clubs. I don't know what the other clubs, I can only talk about the 3 have seen so far. So that will be a critical issue. It will just be a regular company like any other company. You name any company in the stock exchange, it's almost the same structure. Except these will be on the junior stock exchange and not the major stock exchange. And there are several companies on the junior stock exchange that you can look at and see how they're structured. So it will be a club. It will just be a company that's called a football club that has some revenues, and the revenues are from gate receipts, as I said earlier, television rights, the sale of paraphernalias, transfer of players, amongst many other activities that will arise in due course.
Wilfred, you said at the start that this is your partnership in this project is being done free of cost. What's in it for you? Why would you do this?
But so many of us in Jamaica are connected. Well, first of all, sports is a very important part of any country's development. Sports and entertainment. And we really haven't materialized it and monetized it the way we should have. I think also part of that is because of lack of structure. Proper structure, governance structure, etc., that give investors confidence. Okay. We are motivated by the fact that we could give back to the country. We could give back to our peers. We know many persons from these clubs, and we feel it's an important contribution and a very necessary step in developing football in the country, hopefully in the region, as we go forward. So for us, it's a give back. Yeah. And a give back that we're very proud of doing.
Yeah, we heard that the chairman, Chris Williams, at the launch last week, speaking glowingly of the prospects. He labelled football the most popular sport in the world, which we know, and suggesting that Jamaica as a brand is a big brand. You know, globally, Jamaica is seen as a big brand in sport, not necessarily in football so much so, but in sport. So putting the two things together, he's seeing it as a win-win situation. And listening to him articulate the point, Wilfred, you couldn't help but feel encouraged by what he was saying. Having said that, though, I think the pulse on the street, if you talk to the general football fan on the street, they're a little taken aback by this move, because for them, it looks as if, you know, it's a very hopeful position to take for these football teams.
Well, you have to start with a dream. And I'm not saying it's a dream, but you have to start somewhere. And setting high standard and setting high goals are good benchmark to start with. So at the press conference, I was motivated by how passionate Chairman was in regard to those statements he made, and he made it with strong passion. And there's no doubt the Chairman had deep experience in starting Proven and many other companies that he's been involved with. So I think we have to take it that his passion would lead us in the right direction. We, as a technocrats at PricewaterhouseCoopers, is to manage the risk, to value the project, and to carry some different skill sets that we have than Chairman to ensure the project is successful.
All right, Mr. Baghaloo, we want to thank you so much for your time, and of course, best of luck as you try to monetize these clubs.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Baghaloo, their partner at PWC. We take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news, and entertainment.